Yung topic dun sa labas, ano, kasi I kind of changed it in the last minute. So instead of talking about looking for stocks that will go up and down in the short term, I was thinking of just giving a general overview and a strategy of what to do in this type of market in the Philippine Stock Exchange. So, who among you guys are into stocks here? Yeah, so most of you guys are into stocks. Who are into Forex? Okay, so I guess in this group, there's more stock people here than Forex guys. Yeah? Okay, great. So, I was looking at the lineup of the speakers and I was kind of flattered, kasi parang ako na yata yung pinakamatanda dun sa lineup of speakers. Anyway, so, when I was younger, 10, 15 years ago, I didn't really want to divulge all my trade secrets. So, medyo ganun katagal na ako nag-trade. And I was, parang very selfish about it. Hindi ko sinasabi lahat ng sikreto ko sa market. But, as I grew older, as I gained more experience, as I became wiser, I was thinking to myself, bakit nga ba? Why do I not tell people my secrets in the market? They don't follow anyway. Okay. People will still average down and average down, and they'll still think that that's the way to go and how to trade the markets. So here in my presentation, I'll give you my own personal view of how I make money in this market and how I view the market and how I see the market. So no holds barred. I'll tell you everything. Okay. So let's begin. So before we create a trading strategy or before we get to figure out what to do with this market, syempre we need to identify the market first. Okay, we need to find out what type of market are we trading in. So the PSE is currently trading at 11-year highs. Yes, this has been one of the greatest bull markets that stock markets all over the world has ever seen. Okay? It's very choppy, as you'll notice in the last couple of years. It's been just going up and down between 6.5 and 8.5. Valuations are, they're not cheap, but they're not expensive. Parang it's somewhere in the middle. I'll explain this to you later. And then we have this additional factor in the market this year, which is the MSCI and the Footsie indices added weight to China, which means they will reduce all the weights of all the other indices, which means there will be funds that will intentionally sell emerging markets and bring those funds to China. Okay? So I'll explain that to you also later on. So again, this is a chart of the PSEI since 2007. So as you can see, we are trading near all-time highs, no? From relative to 10 years ago. Okay, so the market has already gone up so much. And for the last 3-4 years, you'll notice parang the market has been very choppy. It's been just going up and down there. These are the 10-year returns of the top 10 most heavily weighted stocks in the PSEI index. Okay? So if you invested in URC, let's say you invested 10,000 pesos in URC 10 years ago, you would have been up by 884% right now. Okay? At current levels. And so on and so forth. So, ganyan kalalaki na yung inakyat ng mga most active and most heavily weighted stocks in the PSEI as of today from 10 years ago. And this is a chart, this is the same chart of the PSEI, but this is from 1950 something. I think this is from 1950. And this is a logarithmic chart, so medyo weird yung tsura niya, no? And you'll notice here, the number of successive years that the PSEI has gone up. Okay? So we have 8 years there, tama ba? 8 years there, we have 5 years here, 3 years. Currently, we are now on our 11th year on this bull market. So sobrang overextended na yung bull market, right? Okay? And there's also do you know of the 10-year cycle of the market? Okay, every 10 years, the market normally peaks in the PSEI. So there's 1987, just before, there's 1987, there's 1997, just before the Asian financial crisis. There's 2007, di ba, before this big crash in 2008. And then supposedly, it was gonna peak at 2017, which actually it did, no? It did actually peak in 2017, but parang it's not really pushing lower, di ba? Parang it's just, yeah, it peaked, but it's kind of just moving sideways, okay? And this is the PSEI chart from like 3 to 4 years ago, 4 years ago, okay? So you'll notice, although the market has been generally going up, it's really choppy, okay? Why is it like that? Because every time it goes up, because we are at 10-year highs, there's always somebody who's gonna take profits. Okay? Yung mga humawak ng 1 year ago might take profits, yung humawak ng 5 years ago might take profits, yung mga humawak ng 10 years ago might take profits. Okay? There's always somebody who's gonna take profits because we are at near all-time highs. Yet, there's no reason naman for the markets to drop, right? I mean, the economy is doing well, GDP went down a bit, but it's still doing 5%. There's relatively low inflation, business is bustling everywhere. So there's no reason for the market to crash. So that's why you see this behavior of the market where it's just been going up and down. This is a 2-year chart of SM. So I just show this to show you also how choppy the market has been. And this is a PE ratio band of the PSEI since 2007. So you'll see here the valuation of the market in terms of earnings. Okay, so in 2007, the market dropped to as low as 10 times PE. 2008. But at the height of the market, when the market traded as high as, ano ba yung all-time high natin? 8,000 plus. The PE was doing it about 22 or 23 times. Right now, we are currently trading at 17. So, di ba, parang it's not expensive anymore, unlike a year ago, but it's also not cheap. So, parang we're like in the middle of that PE ratio band. Okay, here's another metric of valuation, which is the price to book. Also with the price to book, in 2009, we dropped to as low as almost 1 times price to book. At the height of the market, we were trading as high as 3 times book value. Right now, we are currently doing at almost 2. So, ganun din. We're like in the middle of that valuation band. And here, I'll show you the regional valuations, no? In terms of PE, in terms of price to book, and this one is in terms of EPS growth. So normally, those countries that have high growth would normally have high valuations. And those would have low growth, syempre will have low valuations. And in the bottom there, you'll see the weighted average, excluding Philippines, the US, Japan, and China. Okay, so if you remove all those countries, the valuation of the market is actually a little bit high relative to regional markets. Konti lang naman. Okay? And then, so, the market is high, the market is choppy, the valuation is so-so, just in the middle. And then we have this added factor in the market, which is the MSCI and Footsie indices rebalancing, okay? Who doesn't understand the MSCI and Footsie indices, bruha? You know? Okay. I'll explain it to you. No? These funds, there are actually some funds who actually just copy what the MSCI index or what the Footsie indices are. So kunyari, 10% of the Footsie index, for example, is in SM. These funds who are copying the MSCI and who are copying the Footsie will also have more or less 10% in their portfolio. So let's see, si MSCI, binaba niya ng 9% yung weight niya sa SM. Tapos nilagay niya kunyari sa China Telecom. Ang gagawin nitong mga index funds na to, they too will also sell SM and add weight to China Telecom in their portfolio. Okay, that's how it goes. And there's a lot of these index funds. Okay? So, we are estimating, the estimated total passive outflow is about $258 million for the rebalancing of the MSCI index this year. So there are, for sure, $258 million that will sell out of our market this year. Okay? And they will be carried out in 3 tranches. One in May, so nag-announce na nung early this May, and I think it will be implemented by the end of the month. And then there's another one in August and one last in November. And then aside from the MSCI, there's also the Footsie Index. Okay? Mas maliit yung Footsie, but there's also quite a significant outflow of about $143 million. And they will be implementing it in 3 tranches also, one in June, one in September, and one last in March next year. Okay? So, di ba, mahirap na nga yung market. It's choppy, it's kind of high. Tapos meron pang MSCI rebalancing and Footsie rebalancing. So, mas lalong nagkaroon ng added difficulty sa market this year. Okay, so these are the key dates and estimated outflows based on our research from AP Securities. So, May 19, June 19, these are the dates that you have to take note of because these are where the announcement and the implementation dates are. May 6, August 5, November 4 for MSCI. Okay, and then the implementation dates are May 31, August 31, November 30. Okay? So, yeah, take a picture. Go. The outflows are just estimated, Yung sinabi ko kanina, okay, wait lang. Ito is sure to. Kasi these are passive funds, which means when you say passive, these are just index funds, which they really mechanically copy the MSCI or the Footsie indices. The active funds are, parang they're active, parang it's in their discretion whether they're gonna copy what the Footsie or the MSCI is gonna do. So for the passive funds, for sure, $143 million. For MSCI, 258. But in our research in AP Securities, we just estimated what the active funds are also gonna do. That's why medyo mas malaki yung numbers. Okay? Okay, so my guess is, if you were to bottom pick this market, you would do it sometime around August and November this year. Okay? Syempre, you don't want to wait for March to start buying. Kasi by that time, everybody has already started to position already. It's too late. Syempre, medyo tumaas na yung market by that time. You don't want to position naman right now because it's kind of too early. Diba? So, I'm guessing it's sometime maybe in the third quarter during the rebalancing of MSCI in August or November. That's when you want to try to start positioning on if you're interested in the blue chips or on the index stocks. Okay, so how do we make money this year? Here are the top 21 gainers so far of 2019. Okay? Number 1 is FA, and then we have Holcim, House, Fen. Okay? Sino kumita sa FA? Can I have a raise of hands? Okay. Sino lugi? Okay. So what do you notice, What do you notice in these stocks? Most of these stocks are non-index stocks. Okay? And most of them are like second liners that have good stories and good fundamentals. Okay, like for example, Holcim here has his own story of being a buyout. A house have good fundamentals, and it's not an index stock, and it's not part of the index. Siyempre yung mga nagtutulak ng market ngayon, they're trying to stay away from all the index stocks because of all this rebalancing in the Footsie and the index and MSCI this year. Okay? So, Santa Lucia is another example, FEN is another example, Ginebra, San Miguel, Cemex, okay? But normally, when you look at the top gainers every year, it's normally the speculative issues, but not this year. This year, it's not the speculative issues that are moving. It's the second line issues that have good stories and good fundamentals. Okay? So ideally, you want to look for stocks with cheap valuation, with big growth, and with bullish charts that are not part of the index. Okay? A word on, I just want to butt this in, A word in psychology, mas bullish syempre yung mga stocks na walang pumapansin. Okay? Mas maganda yung stocks na akyat lang na akyat pero hindi pinapansin ng market at hindi nyo nakikitang pinag-uusapan sa Facebook. Okay? Pag the minute na everybody's talking about it in Facebook, it becomes a crowded trade already. Okay? It means everybody who wanted to buy the stock may have already bought it. Okay? So be mindful of that when you're stock picking. It's generally a sideways market, so contra trading works nowadays. Okay, so you buy something that nobody's buying, and you sell something that everybody wants. Here are my own personal stock picks. Okay, ayan na. Here we go. Okay. Lipat ka na ulit ka agad, Okay. Okay, I'll explain to you why. I'll hype you one by one. Okay, CHP. Why CHP? Okay, sino ang bullish sa CHP? Sino ang ipit sa IPO? Okay, why CHP? CHP is a turnaround story. Okay? Aside from the industry being very bullish right now because of all this construction, of all this economic activity happening in the country right now, it's a turnaround story. I think they already started to make an income last quarter. Last year, net loss pa sila. I think they've been in a net loss for the last 2 years. Tama ba? And last quarter, they already registered an income. Okay? Recently, you'll notice, si ATR Kim Eng, have you been noticing him? Who has been following CHP here? Anyway, there's this big broker who has been buying and buying and buying the stock every day. And every day, you'll see him as the top buyer of CHP. These are the insiders. Actually, it was already disclosed a couple of weeks ago that Cemex themselves are the ones buying into the stock. So they're starting to accumulate the stock already at current levels. There is a massive $250 million SRO. What is an SRO? It's a stock rights offering. Okay. Every time there's a stock rights offering, I'm very, very bullish. Okay. How much is 250 million? It's about how much pesos? It's about 13 billion pesos. Okay. Okay. Oh, sorry. I need to hurry this up. So Cemex, okay. Every time there is a stock rights offering, I'm very bullish because stock rights offering is actually a form of insider buying. Okay? So, take note of that. Jerry, why Jerry? Again, there's also there's three top big brokers who are buying the stock, and they are the three top holders in the PCD. Okay? Kaya umakyat yan from 1 peso all the way to 140 because they have been continuously buying it every day. Okay? And one of the reasons why the stock dropped from 2 pesos to 1 peso from 2014 to 2018 is because nagbebenta si Philestate. Philestate owns this before. Okay? And right now, from 200 million shares, he only has about 38 million left. Okay? Book value is at 289, mind you. Okay? It's trading at 145 right now. Book value is 289. And it was sold to MegaWorld from Alliance Global at 193. 50% of the company was sold to MegaWorld at 193 last 2014, which means they actually did a tender offer at 193 5 years ago. Okay? Last quarter, they grew 41%. Manila Water. I like Manila Water. Why? Simply because I think all the bad news have already been priced into the stock. So if you want to buy a cheap Ayala company right now, it's Manila Water. Perk, my favorite perk. It's the cheapest power play in the PSE, maybe next to SPC and FGen. Book value of 838. It's just doing 6 times PE. Last quarter, it grew by 58%. And last year, they had a 750 million SRO at 480 per share. So just imagine, the insiders bought at 480 per share last year. And the price right now is doing what? 470, 460. So you buy Perk right now, mas mababa ka pa sa insider, actually. PNB, the cheapest bank right now, trading at 7 times PE, book value at 104. It's doing 59 bucks right now, but its book value is 104 pesos. Last quarter, it grew 30%, and they have an upcoming SRO also, a 12 billion SRO. Okay, so you'll notice what happened. There was a big spike in the stock a couple of weeks ago, and then bumaba. Okay. It spiked up because of news of its income, because of news of it is interested in selling a stake to a foreign group. So I think there's news already that they will be inviting some foreign partners into the bank. Okay, so just imagine na lang how much these foreign funds will be buying into PNB if its book value is at 104. Okay? And then it dropped, because because of the SRO news. Okay? So, yun lang yung pumipigil sa stock ngayon, yung SRO. But tanggalin mo yung SRO, the stock has good fundamentals, and I think it's raring to go. Very rarely will you see a stock go up despite news of an upcoming SRO. For those of you who are medyo gamblers, here's my speculative bet. ABG. Okay? Last year ba? Last year na ba yun? Or early this year? ABG, Tiger Resorts bought 67% of ABG. So ano ibig sabihin nun? So Tiger Resorts now actually owns 67% of ABG. Tiger Resorts is the owner of Okada Manila. Okay? So, ano gagawin ni Tiger Resorts dito? Alam nga naman, ganyan na lang siya, di ba? So, obviously, they are going to infuse Okada into ABG soon. And probably later this year. Okay? The stock has been going down because of uncertainties of how many shares Tiger will be issuing, because of no news in the near term. Because from what I've been hearing, the infusion will happen sometime in the fourth quarter pa. So there should be some opportunity in ABG between now and the fourth quarter. Okay, so, and of course, they will also be offering, they will also be doing a follow-on offering soon. Sabi nila also in the fourth quarter rin. And then, if you are interested in backdoor listings, okay, there are three requirements. Do you understand backdoor listings? Backdoor listings is you buy a shell company. Alam mo, maraming mga shell companies in the PSE. You know? Those companies na they don't have assets, they don't have income, they don't have nothing, but it's still listed in the market. And they normally have, you can normally buy them for like half a billion pesos. And it's really just a shell. And some companies, what they do is, instead of doing an initial public offering, they will just buy the shell and then infuse the assets. Just like what Tiger Resorts did to ABG. They bought ABG and then they will eventually infuse Okada into ABG. Okay, that's what you call a backdoor listing. Okay, and the requirements of that is that, so of course, the company must have a low market cap. Ideally, 1 billion or less market cap. There should be a concentration of ownership. Okay, at least 70% of the shares must be owned by one group lang or one individual. Mas maganda, di ba? Para madaling kausap pag gusto mong bilhin yung kumpanya, right? And then, ideally, the balance sheet of the company must be clean. Okay? Maliit yung negative retained earnings, ideally positive stockholders' equity. Okay? Okay, these are the 38 stocks in the PSE under 1 billion market cap. So if you're looking for backdoor listing plays, andyan yun. Okay, it's in one of those stocks. Okay. So medyo marami, 38. Okay. But here are my personal picks. There. I like Jazz, I like Ma, and then I like LMG. Okay? Market cap of Jazz, just 777 million. 69% of the shares is owned by Keaton Holdings. Okay? It has negative book value, but alam mo, there's always been a rumor in Jazz being a backdoor. And every once in a while, it goes up eh, di ba? Napapansin nyo? Ma recently just became listed. This was like suspended for a few years, so there must be a reason why they relisted Ma in the PSE. Okay, 68% of the shares are owned by just 8 corporations, which I presume are related to each other. Book value is 0.46. Yung retained earnings 200, 300 million. Hindi ganun kalaki yan, ha? Okay, that's not too big. And then LMG, 50%, 60%, what's this? 51% is owned by Ms. Sitin, and then 15% is owned by Mr. Robinson Xiao. The book value is 0.95, and then it only has like negative 60 million retained earnings. Okay, so take a look at these stocks if you're interested in looking for a backdoor listing play. So, these are my general strategy of how I actually trade the markets. You know, I try to accumulate. What I do is like if I'm interested in buying, for example, PNB or ABG, I'll try to accumulate at a level. I'll try to accumulate like 50 to 70% of my desired position at a certain level, which I feel that it's low already. Okay. That's what I do. And then, I just put a maximum of about 5% stop. Siyempre sa ABG, kailangan medyo lakihan mo yung stop mo sa ABG because it's very volatile. But maybe this can apply to if you're buying CHP or maybe PNB, okay, or Jerry. And then, on the way up, for example, medyo nag-spike yung PNB, for example, going to 65. Malayo pa naman sa 100 target ko, di ba? Pero I'll probably sell a little. I'll buy shorting it. So maybe, let's say, if I have 100,000 shares, I'll probably sell 10,000 shares and then try to buy it back lower so that my cost becomes, is reduced. Okay? And then once the stock goes back down and corrects back down, I not only just buy back my short, but I also add on to the position. And then I try to hold it for as long as I can until the trend is up, as long as the trend is up or until the story unfolds. Okay? And finally, here's my, for those of you who are into Elliott, here's my outlook for the PSEI for the next 5 years. So I'm looking, this current correction of the market right now, I believe, may be the last leg down before the next bull run in the next 3-4 years. Okay, so while 2019 may prove to be another challenging year, opportunities still abound. End of wave C maybe, hopefully this year. Okay, so I hope you learned something from me today. Thank you very much.